So it's finished. Wolverhampton just 1, Brighton Hove Albion 4. Again, one of our bogey teams, Brighton. We always seem to do poorly against them. Over the years, I watched some Wolves countless times. We seem to get a result against those. Key points for today's game. Again, same problem as at United. We cannot seem to score a goal, even though we scored in the second half. We create so many clear-cut chances in the first half. Apart from the brilliance from Matoma, we probably had the better chance that first half. Ryan Atkins should have scored, and Silva should have scored. Both those chances were onside, and we should have more to work the goalkeeper, taking that first half. I think there's some key players that are really good. Kuna played well again today, followed on what he did against United, dragged the ball, carried the ball from deep, ran past players, rode another lots of chances. He kept going towards the end as well, even when he was tired. He still run all the way towards the last part of the game, still carrying the ball past players. Nunes, again, solid performance again. Obviously, I'll move on to what happened later on in the game with him, but lots of confidence play, get on the ball, take it past players, drag us up the pitch, was doing that again, which is really, really good. And then Ryan Nouri, I thought, was a really key standout for the first half. He could have had a couple of goals today, had 2 really good chances, particularly the second one where Hwang set him up. He probably should have scored. He should have scored, and that would have been another goal in Wolves' favour. Joe Assar, I think for me, he's getting worse. His passing's getting worse. Distribution's getting worse. He doesn't seem to be as good as what he used to be last season. He doesn't seem to be as good as that. You could be really critical for one of the goals. That when he saved it, he tipped it back into a dangerous area, and then Brighton, obviously, Matoma got on the end of it and cut it back, and then they scored from there. So that could also be from that as well. A poor restart from half time. We got, for some reason, we took it. We played outside. Nouri played left, and then it was just we lost it was a strange restart. We played short, played wide to put into an aerial duel, and then we lost the aerial duel, and they can scored from there. Brighton seem to be always a pass ahead of the play, whereas every time we got into the final third, we seem to get into those areas and we're thinking, oh, what's the next pass? What's the next pass? Brighton was like, right, my next pass is going there, but the following pass that the defender or the player, to forward already made the pass. So they seem to be so much more well drilled to expect from a team that's played together a little bit longer, but they did seem to be always one step ahead of us. Neto again needs to be on the left. He cannot be on the right hand side. So many times we play the ball into him, and then he has to then cut back onto his right, and he cuts onto his left, and it slows the play every time. So many times, so many Brighton goals came from that, where they just play the ball early across the box, and we can't do it because one of our players is playing on the wrong side of the pitch. So that's absolutely killing us. Hwang was really good when he came on. I thought he managed to worked really hard, battled, obviously scored, and created a really good chance for Ryan Nouri. Again, last final point I want to make. Nunes, I'm disappointed in that sending off. There's no need. The game's completely gone. It's like the 93rd minute, 4th minute. We're losing 4-1, and you've got yourself a second yellow card. We're now missing you for the Everton game. We need every single Wolves player for this what is going to be a dogfight of the season, I think. We need every single player, and you've cost us there for another key game. So it needs to be better from Wolves. We need to start scoring some goals. We need to start maybe thinking about team selection and playing players in the right positions, and we'll see how we go moving forward. A tough game next against Everton, but we'll see how we go on next time, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Well, the Premier League season is back at Molineux, and it was a bit of a reality check, I think, after the kind of general happiness and general kind of content reaction to our performance against Man United. Playing a very good side in Brighton today. Didn't think going into it, we would struggle as much as we did with their press. They were, by all accounts, according to Brighton fans, the performance against Luton and the score against Luton rather flattered them somewhat. So I was actually quite optimistic going into today's game. And, the first half sort of reflected that, bar a brilliant goal by Matoma, which you've got to kind of expect from someone of his quality. Could have been defended better in time, between Dawson and Nelson Semedo, but got through us very, very easily, but it was a tremendous finish. Not a huge amount you can do about it. Going into half-time, I was pretty content, pretty happy overall. I thought, we'd done enough to try and get a goal back in the second half and probably gain some momentum. But then came 10 minutes of disarray. I don't think the players knew exactly what they were doing. Defenders were all over the shop. We were playing an extremely high line against a team that were brilliant with the ball. Bit of a risk. Dawson pulled up too many times, leaving Nelson isolated on the right-hand side, Brighton's left. And that's where they targeted us. I think Enciso was brilliant on the counter-attack. That's where Solly March got 2 of his goals, but it was 3 goals in 9 minutes. is unacceptable at any level in the game of football. For me, I think that's a complete head loss from all players. I can't really pin the blame on anyone as such. I just think overall the defensive unit was a complete mess for those 3 goals. But even after that, we didn't look too bad. I thought, we missed too many chances. Again, it's going to become a recurring theme, I think, for the majority of this season. Fabio Silva, I'll back him to the hills, but he should have scored. Aït-Nouri should have scored in the first half. But in the second half, we had the goal from Channy, who I thought was really good when he came on. But, Aït-Nouri's got a score on that cutback from Chan after that great run into the Brighton Hove Albion box. 4-1, it's a difficult one to take overall, considering looking at XG. I know XG is not really a kind of a metric to measure performances on overall, but it was about 2.5 to 2.5. I think on another day we could have scored 2, 3, 4 goals even, had it not been Wolves. I didn't think we looked too bad overall, but it was just 10 minutes of complete kind of no concentration across the back line, no cohesion across the back line. Goals have got to come from somewhere. I think they will come from somewhere. I'm not hugely disappointed with the performance, just a bit hacked off by the result overall. So we can work on it. There's room for improvement. I've got confidence in the lads to sort it, but a bit of a wake up call for the owners. We need some more bodies, so let's hope they get them in soon. Cheers.
Okay, so Wolves losing out 4-1 to Brighton, and with that, a lot of the momentum and good feeling going into this season has kind of evaporated, really. Boos at full time, boos around the ground, feels very much akin to last season. Really disappointing, because after a really positive performance against Manchester United, to turn up another shocking performance against Brighton at home, first home game of the season, half the stadium was empty by 60 minutes. It's absolutely unacceptable. But you have to say Brighton are an excellent footballing side, very well run, and I think the result today doesn't come as a surprise. I was expecting us to lose, but maybe give it a better go than we did. I thought actually in the first half we played well. We were in the contest for the majority of the first half. Should have scored 2 goals. Fabio, he's had a lot of backing from the fans, but again missing a really, really big chance. Still yet to really prove it in the Premier League for me, despite being a big fan of his. And Aït-Nouri missing a huge chance again at the end of the first half. Kind of, again, just signifies the problems. And even in the second half, by the time we got 4-1 down, we still were creating chances, but just trying to take a touch when all you need to do is shoot, not being able to pass the ball around well. For a team with so many technically gifted players, we're really struggling to string a few passes together. A 10-minute kind of double, triple salvo at the start of the second half didn't help. And again, the defending is just so poor, really standstill, almost like mannequins just watching. The marking again, non-existent. Still not convinced about Kilman as captain, I'll be honest. I think it's a very, very shaky game from him today. He was all over the place. And Dawson, again, we saw in the first half, he kept stepping up, getting caught out. And we knew at some point that was going to come back to punish us. And it did. We looked all over the shop defensively. And look, when you're playing against a Brighton team that are so good at beating a press and so good at pressing themselves, you just can't afford to be that open. And we got punished for it. And hopefully this is a good lesson for Gary O'Neill and for the squad going forward, because, my God, we need to learn fast. And Matheus Nunes getting sent off right at the end is so stupid, because we have no depth, and that means another position we got to fill now. Hopefully Juan can come in and do a decent job. He came in today, got the goal and played pretty well. So overall, really disappointing. Solid first half, awful second half defensively. A lot of work to do. Fosun, obviously Jeff Shee and Guo were in the crowd today, so hopefully that's a big wake-up call for them to get some bodies in the door, because if we don't, then I think it's going to be a very, very long season again for Wolves.
Afternoon, Wolves fans. Well, that second half was absolutely dreadful. Let's start off by going though, Brighton are actually one of the best footballing sides in the Premier League, I think, based on last season and the start of this season. We shouldn't have got battered like that second half, but they are a good side. Let's not forget that, because we're coming off the back of a manager leaving, a new manager taking over. and the back of a good performance against United. So not going to get too downhearted at this point. I'm not a happy clapper as well though, because that second half, 10-15 minutes was awful. I said to 10-15 minutes, it wasn't. It was because it was the rest as well. So rest of the second half. First half, I thought we had played really well. Probably the better side on the whole. Not much in it though. Obviously Brighton were really good as well. I'm not taking anything away from them either. But I thought we looked all right. Done well, positive, made a lot of chances, which we haven't seen for a long time. So, you know what? I'd rather us get beat by creating a lot of chances and actually having a go than trying to sit in and getting back 4-0 like we did last year at home anyway. So, yeah, I'd rather that. I'd rather us have a go. A few positives in certain players, not all, not many. I thought Cunha again was phenomenal, and his work rate and his desire, even in like the 99th minute, he was still chasing people down today. Credit to him, because Jesus Christ, he's going to drive that team forward, I think, at times, with his work ethic and his desire. And he's good, he's skillful, he's winning fouls, he's driving past people, he does it at the right times. Needs to work on his shooting a little bit, but again, I think the whole team do, so that's not just him. I thought Silva looked good at times. Again, work rate was good, worked hard, won some good battles, drove forward, created some chances. Later on, I played people, should have scored his chance. I think he thought he was offside when I looked at it. He seemed to think he half-heartedly shot when he should just bury it, and then we're 1-1. Second half, I mean, it come from the kick-off, didn't it, where Aitnery's in the middle of midfield. Obviously, that's a tactic they've worked on, but then we lost the ball straight away off it. And then everyone's out of position because I think everyone's panicking a little bit, and we concede straight away. Awful way to concede. Dawson was well off it today from the start and got booked early on. But I think that was a tactic of Brighton's. They drew him out. They drew him into their half with Enciso, who played really well. And they seemed to have a bit of a game plan on him, and it clearly worked. The better side overall won. Let's not say anything else on that. But a good first half, but a 10-minute absolute annihilation in the start of the second ruined the rest of the game for us, and we were never coming back. Hwang looked lovely when he come on. I think there'll be a few chances for the cup game, and we go from there. Let's hope we can get a few goals, get some confidence in the team, put this behind us and move on. It's a shame after the first half. I thought we might come back and get a draw, or maybe even nick it, not get battered, but we did. So, hey ho, on to the next one.
Right, well, fair play to Wolves for completely ruining my Saturday afternoon. After going to Manchester United away last week, or this week I guess, I actually had, for some reason, quite a lot of hope, I'd say, for this weekend. I thought maybe we'd get a draw out of it. I thought, Brighton are a good side, but we played well on Monday night, and I didn't see any of that team tonight. What I saw on Monday. It just looked like a completely different team. Looked like the end of last season when we went down to the Amex and we lost 6-0. It looked exactly the same as that. They just tore us apart from minute one, really. We created some chances. Fabio should have scored 100%. And we probably go in, a goal up. Or 1-1, whatever. Come out for the second half. I think, Gary O'Neill's going to deliver a team talk, change some things around. No, it got worse. It got way worse. It looked like nobody knew what they were doing. Roberto De Zerbi has gone, let's pinpoint Craig Dawson, play balls over the top, they can't handle the pace. Kilman's at fault for most of the goals as well, because they can't move quick enough, either of the centre-backs. It's a joke. It's a joke. We've got 3 senior centre-backs at the club. Alfie Pond, bless him, is our 4th choice centre-back, so if one of them gets injured, he's next up to bat, and he's way out of his depth. We need to bring in at least 2 to 3 more bodies up, maybe on the wing, up front, centre back. And to be honest, Jose Sarr pissed me off as well the entirety of the game, because kept playing the ball back to him for him to distribute it out and play out from the back, and he just keeps passing it out of play over and over again. What has Daniel Bentley got to do to get a game? I'm watching week after week Jose Sarr not be able to use his feet, not be able to control the ball. He's giving me a panic attack every time I see him touch the ball. I've just had enough. It's like, it feels like 1 step forward, 2 steps back every week. And I've paid 650 quid, so has everybody else in the stadium, to see performances like that. We're supposed to be good at home. That's our fortress. And instead, we've just let Brighton come here, shit all over us, and piss off. fair play to them. Come the end of the season, they could be in the Champions League places. They're a good team. But we've just shown no fight at all at the start of the second half, after a half-decent first half where we could have got back into the game. And instead we've just pissed it away. My one bit of credit goes to Hwang for coming on and wanting to make a difference. There was one point, I left early, and the exact moment I left was when Hwang skinned 3 players, cut it back and passed it 6 yards away for Rain Nori to tap it into an empty net, and he took a touch and lost the ball. And that's exactly when I walked out, because I couldn't handle it anymore. What have we got to do to put the ball in the onion bag? We watch training on YouTube every week, and they can stick the ball into the corners. It comes to a game, no one can put the ball in the net. I don't get it anymore. And now Nunes, I've left the stadium. I've checked on flash scores, and Nunes has been sent off. So now he's going to miss a huge game against Everton next week. It's a huge game. It's a relegation battle, and he's going to miss the game because he can't control his emotions. The lack of discipline is costing us as well. And Gary has walked into a job, an impossible job. And I know he's going to get abuse and say people are going to be out of his depth. It's not his fault. He's been here a week. There's a lot of problems at this club, and it starts at the top. And it needs to fix itself. It needs to change. Thanks for ruining my weekend, Wolves.
Well, what a disappointing game that was. All the promise of the performance of the Man United game gone completely out the window now. First half, played all right. Started the game okay. Created good chances first half. Silva, Nori and Neto all should have done better, really. Worst thing is, other than Silva, who still one-on-one should have scored, none of them even hit the target, which is the most disappointing thing. I don't know what they do in training, but I think they need to get on some shooting practice, I think. But yeah, first half played okay. Conceded a goal. Mitoma just ran round Semedo like he wasn't there, and there was no one on the cover at all, and stuck it in the back of the net. Poor defending. Rode it a little bit towards the end of the first half, but overall I thought we were better side first half. So created good chances and really probably should have gone in at least 2, if not 3-1 up. But typical story of Wolves, no one actually has the quality to stick the ball in the back of the net. Second half, I don't know what we were doing. Tried some weird kick-off routine. Nori lump it into the channel to Neto, who was never going to get on the end of it. One ball over the top. Kilman just left for dead by Welbeck, as is a fairly common theme with him. And the ball ends up in the back of the net, and you think, okay, 2-0 down, that's a bit of a mountain to climb, but we'll see what happens. And within 9 minutes, it's 4-0. I don't see how you concede 3 goals in 10 second half minutes, especially when we've had the kick-off and we've conceded one after a minute. It's just not good enough. The defending was awful, non-existent at times. Dawson and Kilman playing statues, just not picking up the runners, not moving with them. For one of the goals, Dawson stood a good 10 yards in front of his bloke, who he doesn't even seem to know is there, so no idea what that was about. Not sure why he took Silva off for Sarabia. Silva didn't have a particularly good game, to be fair. I'm not complaining about him taking him off, but you've got Sasha sat on the bench. You're 4-0 down, I think, or 3-0 down at that point. Why not bring your striker on? Sarabia, again, I'm not a fan, but lost the ball every time he got it. One thing he does do is a decent set piece. Good corner in onto Hwang's head, who's sort of nodded it into the corner. We had one more chance second half. Hwang beat about 5 blokes, did really well. Crossed it, sort of put it on a plate really for Nori. He should just pass it into the back of the net. Decides to take his touch for some reason. His touch is terrible. Defender gets a block in and he doesn't even get a shot off. But realistically, we should have scored minimum 3, 4, if not 5 goals today. But typical Wolves, no finishing, can't hit the target, barely get a shot off. Absolute madness from Nunes towards the end. I think it was the 94th minute. Decides to push the bloke into the goalkeeper for no reason whatsoever. And if that wasn't enough, then tries to get at him and push his way through another Brighton player and gets a second yellow and sent off, having got one earlier for throwing the ball away. So yeah, all in all, very, very bad day at the office. Going to be a long season, I think.